Tony Magoo came into this world damp. While most babies cried for milk, Tony made it. From his first breath, his chest leaked like an untended faucet. By the time he was 2, his parents were broke, not from drink, not from debt, but from buying mattress after mattress. No padding, no plastic cover could contain him. Every morning his sheets sagged with sour milk, and Tony, with the innocent grin of a boy unaware of curses, would chirp, "I'm Tony Titties. Who wants a splash?" But no one did. At 8 years old, during gym class, Tony discovered his power in full. As the other kids struggled up the climbing rope, he felt a swell in his chest, and then splat! 2 jets arced across the hardwood. Children screamed. The teacher fainted. Convinced he had found his calling, Tony strutted onto stage at the school talent show, puffed his chest, and sprayed the audience in radiant arcs. But instead of cheers, he heard shrieks. Chairs scraped. Teachers dragged him out, locking the door behind him. It was the first time Tony felt the world close its heart. His childhood never dried. Each ruined mattress made his parents poorer, angrier. His room smelled perpetually of dairy gone bad. Kids avoided him at sleepovers, whispering, "Milk boy." Tony clung to his catchphrase as a shield, but laughter always cut deeper than milk could soothe. By his teens, Tony's curse turned him toward mischief. Next door lived Mrs. Harrow, an elderly woman with sharp eyes. Tony began slipping into her house at night, dosing her tea with his milk so she would sleep while he rummaged through drawers. But soon she noticed something stranger. Her underwear smelled faintly of dairy. Her depends, once neatly stacked, were missing in bundles. She told her friends she suspected Tony was wearing her undergarments, maybe even selling her diapers for scraps to an old folks' home. In truth, that home was no retirement center at all, but a front for trafficking mass quantities of elderly diapers, an underworld market Tony had stumbled into. She could never prove it, though, and Tony kept whispering into the dark, "I'm Tony Titties. Who wants a splash?" In his 20s, Tony thought he found love. Her name was Carol, and she accepted his secret with a smile. They lived together in a family RV, tight quarters filled with the sweet and sour smell of his supply. But Carol was sly. Night after night, she spiked his cereal with sleep aids, then siphoned his milk while he snored. She wasn't feeding babies or the sick. She was having breakfast with another man. The two of them sat laughing, spooning Tony's milk over cornflakes as Tony slept beside them. One morning, Carol was gone. She took the RV, half his milk, and his heart. Tony comforted himself with a bitter truth. The man would abandon her, taking both the RV and the milk with him, and he was right. Still, he tried to rise again, but the world was not built for a man like him. As a hospital resident, he was caught in the NICU, pressing infants to his chest. Nurses screamed. The babies weren't harmed, but every incubator smelled like a dairy aisle. He was fired that night. As a janitor, his mop betrayed him. No matter how he pushed, every swipe left trails of milk. Shoppers slipped, managers cursed. He was told never to return. At a petting zoo, he was billed as the human cow. Goats bit him, toddlers cried, and the owner shoved him out with no pay. Everywhere Tony went, milk followed. One morning, back in his parents' basement, tragedy struck. The family milk was gone. Out of shame and desperation, Tony poured his own into their cereal. By noon, the kitchen was silent, his family gone forever. Tony wept for years. Seeking redemption, he found work at a local dairy. For the first time, he felt useful. His milk blended into the herds, bottled, sold, consumed. He thought maybe he could live clean. But one carton, tainted by Tony's curse, found its way to an elementary school. By lunchtime, every child and teacher lay silent. Among them was his boss's grandmother, who had only stopped by for a visit. Tony was fired, disgraced, ruined again. He spiraled into $5 milk shows in motel rooms and alleys, squirting for strangers who paid to gawk. His catchphrase, once proud, was now a sad mutter, "I'm Tony Titties. Who wants a splash?" One day, he laced a police officer's coffee with his milk. She collapsed in her cruiser. Sirens came for him, and he was sentenced to 6 long years. Prison was where Tony's legend peaked. His milk bought him cigarettes, ramen, protection. A gang tattooed 2 dripping circles on his chest, crowning him the White Fountain. Rivals in the soy syndicate smuggled plant milk, and in the yard, cartons clashed with chests. Tony was stabbed twice, but survived. In the chapel, he baptized men with milk. Some laughed, others wept, but all remembered. After flooding his cell during a night terror, guards threw him into solitary. The floor was sticky. The rats came to lick. Before release, he stared into a cracked mirror and whispered, I'm Tony Titties. Maybe the world never wanted a splash, but the world always got one. Outside, no one would hire him. Old, bent, homeless, Tony wandered until he found sanctuary behind a Wendy's dumpster. There, kittens mewled, nutria scuttled, raccoons crept. He fed them all, his curse finally a blessing. Children whispered of the milkman of Wendy's, though none dared approach. One bitter night, Tony lay down among the kittens and never rose again. They licked him, waiting for more. In prison, his old gang raised cups of coffee in his honor. His parents, wherever they rested, sighed with weary love. Carol, somewhere on the road, surely thought of him as she spooned cereal into a chipped bowl. And on the wind, eternal and faint, his voice lingers. I'm Tony Titties. Who wants a splash?